I think we just saw the most incredible series of the weekend. Method Orange, I was just talking to Sidu right now. He is buzzing. He's ecstatic off of that series. It was so back and forth, and it means so much to Method Orange to have that victory under their belts. Almost certainly. I was just redoing the math. I'm pretty sure they will be at the summer finals now. Such a big win for them, because at the start of this tournament, they were tied for 4th, not looking safe at all. We were questioning whether they would even make it. Now they're looking fantastic, and we're going to see one of their biggest opposition here in terms of seeding playing in our next series, M2KC Jamili, who has been looking to play spoiler. He actually has the opportunity here, Zico, to potentially put Peekaboo's dreams to rest, and that Jamili-Peekaboo kind of rivalry, you know, the two of them played together for such a long time. Jamili, he's been almost put in the shadow of Peekaboo. Now he has the opportunity to deny him summer finals, deny him BlizzCon.
Yeah, and he's looking to do that, just that, after the move fell earlier today. Now M2KC already having a point lead with about 40 points. Prior to this, are looking to increase that and really put the pressure on the move next cup.
All right, subtlety rogue from Nick. He's been playing this time and time again, and I feel like Zico has complimented it almost every time we've seen it. Initially, we see a lot of damage on Jamili. He's going to have to pop right away.
That wasn't any cooldowns. I mean, look, Nick has everything, Burn has everything.
Subtlety rogue is the counter.
Maybe it is. I mean, Jamili right now, that's a little bit of trouble. They swap over onto Corlic, though. Big damage here. He's in so much trouble. I think he was on Forbearance. I think he actually used Blessing Protection on a blind, and they just all in, delete him. M2KC, aggressive plays. They really punish.
What are we watching right now, Zico? What is this North American tournament there? It's just back and forth, aggression, Sidu bubbling offensively. Like, what's going on right now?
Well, this is North America, where you can see some
where
the entire game.
We're gonna watch the entirety of this game. So Jamili blinks in, counterspells the Demonic Gateway. I like that play. A little bit of disrespect coming in right off the get-go. And let's see here. So Robcop gets Hammer of Justice. Jamili. Okay, so it's a Hammer of Justice Repentance, and that's why Jamili had to use his Ice Block. These paladins are both playing Relentless, and right there we see Corlic as well using his Blessing of Protection to break out of the blind. And then here Jamili and Rob Cub, they are following up on that Garrote Silence here over. They didn't even stun Corlic, they literally stunned Corlic on 1% HP. Dispel the safeguard and just delete his account.
This triple Maledict too.
Yeah.
It's so strong.
The Maledict is really impactful actually, because it looked like the Sub-Rogue soloed Jamili behind the pillar, and then I was thinking, well, Sub-Rogue doesn't do that much damage, that's why people don't pick it, but it's actually the triple Maledict as well, which throws him over the edge and forces the block there. Then it kills Corlic, and it's absolutely crazy. But one thing I really do want to talk about is that Sub-Rogue pick, because I know it's something, you know, we see it in 2v2 on the ladder sometimes, you don't really see it played out in 3 versus 3, and I'm pretty sure he's playing Assassination in the upper bracket. So what do we think about Sub-Rogue? Obviously that isn't a great game to go on, but in general, is it kind of something that you're excited to see how it plays out?
I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a big fan of Sub-Rogue right now. Okay. I like Sub-Rogue when it's all about setting up the kill, going in for big burst damage, and then going back. Right now, Sub is essentially it's like you can set up a long crowd control chains, but someone else has to do all the damage. And that's kind of where you're at, because as a Sub-Rogue, the good thing is right now, compared to, let's say, Legion, where there was a lot of people playing Sub-Rogue, back then you had to kind of pick between certain talents, like you wouldn't really run Shadowy Duel and the Smoke Bomb, for example, whereas now you can do that. But the problem with Sub-Rogue now is that you just lack the damage. Compared to before, you had the burst damage, so now you just do like a kidney shot, you can get a sap, you can get a smoke bomb, you can get a Shadowy Duel, into a blind, into a sap, and while you have that super long CC chain, if someone is line of sighting your damage dealer, the guy is still not gonna die. So before it was more about just stunning someone to set up a polymorph or a fear or something, and then you could actually get in there and solo someone pretty much with the burst damage, whereas the assassination was more consistent pressure. And right now consistent pressure just seems to be the king, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see how it plays out. I'm actually really curious about the Sub-Rogue, because, I mean, against Restoration Druid meta, I think Sub-Rogues are pretty useless because the HOTS will out-heal their damage, but against the Holy Paladin, if Corlick can do the damage. He's a holy paladin himself. I'm gonna go against you on this one. I'm actually pretty excited to see.
I have the
you have the comb right now, so we'll have to see how this next game plays out.
I mean, we certainly will. Kidney shot now on Burn. It looks like M2KC, they're getting aggressive early on. Full blind on Corlick. Blessing of Protection. He's just going to trade out once again. Maybe the move looked to punish, or sorry, maybe M2KC looked to punish Corlick in that exchange once again, but I think he should be able to hold on. Sap landed over onto Rubcub, and I think that's one of the things about the Subtlety Rogue is they can use Sap a lot more often in a matchup like this, and I think he can really set up his team. Corlick in a little bit of trouble. He decides to trade out his Trinket. He's got the Avenging Crusader rolling to keep himself alive from a potential all-in from M2KC. M2KC looking to repeat what they did in game number 1, but I don't think they're going to be able to do it. Polymorph now over onto Corlick. Kidney shot on Rubka. Big setup coming in from Nick as they're looking to take down Jamili.
Into the Hammer of Justice, both Burn and Jamili in a bit of trouble here at this moment in time. Can they get the cauterized here on Jamili? They need the tiniest bit more damage. They get it! They get the sacrifice from Rubcub as well. Significant cooldowns forced from M2KC. No Name just need to stabilize their defense, and they're looking good, but so far their defense is looking pretty shaky. The kick is going to secure the kill. M2KC take it, but I feel like the Sub-Rogue is at least showing promise. It's just maybe they're lacking the experience on the comp, but I feel like it's showing more promise than what we've seen other than
I was so sad to see that step kick because I feel like that game was going pretty well. And then
the Subtlety Rogue looked good.
Yeah,
this isn't fair. He got step kicked. That was just an insane play from Roasties. That's not a
This is toxic.
That was actually me.
That game was going well. You have to admit it. Zico, come on, give me something to work with.
They forced some significant cooldowns. But at the same time, the Assassination Rogue was able to force just as many cooldowns while looking half as flashy. So I feel like, I mean, I'm a big fan of Sub-Rogues, but I feel like the Sub-Rogue, like I mentioned, it just doesn't have the same punch as the Assassination Rogue. And, you know, one step kick from Roasties. I gotta say, Roasties been playing this series really well in general. He was also the one who initiated the first swap in game number 1. And here you can see the Sub-Rogue setup. Jamili and Rubcub doing the classic mistake of stacking up against the Sub-Rogue. And they're getting punished for it. You know, Kidney onto Rubcub, cheap shot over onto Jamili. And this is actually all Nick's damage here, forcing out that... Interesting. Very nice. No, that was actually quite surprising. I don't usually see a Sub-Rogue burst like that, but that was the Shadow Blades. So that's probably why he was able to do that. And there it is. Beautiful step kick from Roasties. And this is a little trick.
That was such a greedy play by Corlick, I have to say.
He had the sacrifice the whole time.
This is the thing, right? When Counterspell is on cooldown, most healers will go for casts because Counterspell is on cooldown. That's the ranged interrupt that you worry about. So, if you play Rogue Mage, here's a free tip for you. Never use your Shadow Step kick if your mage has his counterspell ready. Because they're trying to fake the counterspell, they're going to be faking your step kick by accident. That happens all the time. And I've had to tell, you know, so many rogues about this, you know, all the greats, Waz,
so many
Acro,
of the people upcoming
literally
in
anyone in this tournament on the EU side, I've had to tell all of them about that, so...
You didn't have to tell Peekaboo, though.
No, Peekaboo is...
Oh, Roasties apparently here as well.
Roasties, you know, they can kind of hold it down on their own. In North America, I haven't told any rogue about that, but in Europe, they all had to go through the gauntlet of education.
Yeah, it's like the rise to power, right? It's like Zico's somewhere on the ladder, and now they just don't answer the DMs. It's very sad, really, on the flip side. But obviously, a story that isn't quite so sad is M2KC are 2-0 up in this series. It's not sad for them, at least. I'm still pretty excited to see the Sub-Rogue, though. And, I mean, in game 1 as well, he did almost solo Jamili, and in the second one as well. I mean, granted, it's the Shadow Blades, which is the big damage.
We don't expect Subtlety Rogues to do a lot of damage, but in game number 1, he forced out Ice Block. Game number 2, he had massive burst. It doesn't seem too bad. If anyone could do it, I mean, Nick has been that rogue that's been playing Subtlety in North America for quite some time. He's been holding it down with the specialization, and maybe it works better for their composition than the Assassination Rogue would.
I'm starting to wonder, like, we talk about Rogue Mage all the time just being insane in the current meta, right? Like, if Assassination wasn't what it is, would Sub even be that bad in RM Paladin, for example? Like, Fire Mages have so much damage, Paladins have so much damage. I'm actually super curious how bad it would be, especially bear in mind the tournament server, everyone has Abyss 445 gear. They have all the essences. They have a lot of damage, these players, to work with. We'll have to see. M2KC are 2-0 up in the series. No Name need now a complete reverse sweep to actually bring this one back.
Mew Mew Kitty Cats are looking furious here in their series in the lower bracket. Is it impossible for No Name to find victory? It might just be.
Yeah. Two was too much.
Could never have too many puns.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Good to know.
Burn.
I like them, Sid. I actually did like those.
Kitty shot on Rubcub, cheap shot on Jamili. Once again, Nick setting his team up, just doing massive damage. Burn, I feel like Burn is never there when Jamili's just dying. It's just Nick just farming. Look at, like, this is really impressive. Burn finally in line of sight, trying to get some damage rolling. Kitty shot secured by Rossies. They're trying to get aggressive over onto Burn. Korlik has to be very careful. He's susceptible to interrupts on that Paladin. Needs to make sure he's faking out the step kick, faking out the counter spell. Burn gets interrupted. Korlik now looking for Repentance, finds it. Good setup here by No Name.
All right, No Name. This is a good opportunity to stay in the series. Temporal Shield. Oh, massive heal. Rubcup still feared, though. They're following up with further damage. The Destruction Warlock certainly will bring that backup of damage for the Subtlety Rogue. It's an interesting combination of specializations. Will it work out for them is now the question. Huge Meteor connects. Korlik in the Hammer of Justice. Burn, how are you going to stay alive on your own? He fears Roasties. Nick crowd controls 2 members, reversing the pressure in his team's favor, and Burn stays alive.
Yeah, Burn is just such a good target for Roasties in this match. If Jamili's and Rubcup want to, they can just try to stay alive for as long as possible, and slowly but surely, Roasties will start developing a massive lead over onto Burn. Korlik out of line of sight. Jamili trying to get in position to land a polymorph. Fakes out, actually gets interrupted. Nice interrupt there by Burn. Korlik actually gets Shadow Step kicked once again by Roasties. Roasties setting up his team. Korlik needs to be careful. Ultimate Sacrifice comes in to keep Burn alive.
Jamili actually fake casted a polymorph to force out that Hand of Sacrifice there.
Wow. Jamili's making plays with the fake cast of polymorph. You like to see that one. Korlik falls for the bait, trying to keep Burn alive. There's the kidney shot. Hammer of Justice over on the Korlik. Burn taking massive damage, and because Jamili got the the ultimate sacrifice out of the way a little bit earlier on, Burn is forced to trade out that unending resolve. And No Name, they're running on fumes in terms of defensives.
Yeah, it's not looking too good for No Name here on match point. 2.5 minutes in, full blind. Burn all alone, trying to drop a demonic gateway for an escape, but gets stunned on it. Unfortunately, Roasty's not able to sap, Vanish not available, so the crowd control chain ends. Rubcup tries to keep it going with the Hammer of Justice. Jamili looking to polymorph, but gets denied by Nick. Once again, good backup by the Subtlety Rogue. Repentance secured. Jamili in trouble. Multiple Chaos Bolts incoming. Cauterized triggers. Ice block forced. No Name stay in it.
That was a big temporal shield. Jamili is definitely not happy. He had Ice block a second before that one went off, as it did put him full HP. Now Korlik gets interrupted. Once again, kidney shot secured on Burn. Korlik trades out the Blessing of Protection in order to keep him alive, and there's not too much left. I mean, Korlik, he does have the Divine Shield, so he can get out of crowd control, but doesn't have too much healing. In the meantime, though, No Name, they're getting a lot of pressure rolling onto Jamili. He's got no Cauterize, he's got no Ice block, and Nick is just soloing him down. If he can land crowd control on Rubcup, this is danger time for Jamili. Rubcup gets interrupted, Nick pushing forward. Jamili trying to get the pressure rolling. Maledict now onto Jamili, gets dispelled off by Rubcup, so we can continue the heals, but these Maledict pushes from No Name have been really dangerous on Jamili.
Hopefully the Mew Mew Kitty Cats don't choke on any furballs here. They're only 1 win away from advancing in the lower bracket. They've got a significant cooldown lead at this point. No Name switching some of their damage to Rubcup, trying to catch him off guard, but he seems to be always on guard. Stun now on Korlik. Burn isolated. Ring of Frost secured. It's 3 versus 1. Nick trying to break out and support, but how much support does he have? Drain life. Desperate moves here by No Name, but ultimately buy enough time for Sacrifice to connect. Burn will be stable. Rubcup is now stunned. Jamili on the run. Line of sighting the Warlock, knowing that he is the biggest threat, but Rubcup has continued to be crowd controlled by the Repentance. Korlik has Avenging Wrath active. He's going to be doing a lot of added damage and healing. Nick is creating a lot of pressure in the backline. Rubcup, though, fakes the kick. He's forced to go for a diminishing return stun, but the Vision of Perfection procs Avenging Wrath. Rubcup immediately stabilizes, and Jamili goes back to full.
Yeah, full HP on Jamili. M2KC, they're looking good to make a push. Blind on Korlik, interrupt on Burn. Burn could be in trouble. Here it is. Rubcup, he gets the Hammer of Justice. Nice setup. Double Dragon's Breath comes in. Jamili lands the polymorph. Burn is all alone. What is he going to do? If there's any follow-up, this is a complete nightmare for No Name. Rubcup trades out his Divine Shield. Smoke Bomb drops out. Jamili looking for a spell steal on that Gladiator. Safeguard lands the Polymorph on Korlik. Meteor comes crashing in. Burn still somehow barely alive. Lands the Shadow Fury. Double Dragon Spell shuts that down. Nicely done by Jamili. And Korlik just in complete panic mode. How is he going to keep this Warlock up?
I'm so surprised that Burn is even still alive at this point in time. Korlik breaks out of the stun on any resolve, just becomes available, but Jamili's trying to poly Korlik. He can't heal and avoid poly at the same time. He tries to reposition, jumping down off the ramp. Jamili looking to pursue after him. Gets the polymorph, and I mean, this has to be the end of the game. There's nothing left for Burn, and the Mew Mew Kitty Cats are looking marvelous in game number 3, advancing 3-0.
Yeah, very well played by the Mew Mew Kitty Cats, securing the game. It was a close one once again, but I guess you get to keep your comb, Zico. That was a 3-0 at the end of the day. Mew Mew Kitty Cats advanced through to the top 4.
Yeah, and that was an excellent setup as Mr. Burns gets nuked.
Okay.
I didn't get that one.
That's an old school cartoon reference, I do believe.
I do believe you are correct.
I get this.
Yes.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Yeah, his name is Mr. Burn.
Oh, I get it. Yeah. I didn't even know.
It wasn't as complicated as your
honestly, that was a good setup from the Mew Mew Kitty Cats, and honestly, Korlik couldn't have done too much. He could have actually sidestepped that last polymorph, but still, with Jamili and Rubcup basically chasing him down the entire game here, I'm not too surprised. You know, that smoke bomb as well with that Dragon's Breath coming back off cooldown right there. Jamili and Roasties, they're just on fire with that Rogue Mage synergy. Interrupts on Burn so many times here. Kick on the Chaos Bolt, counterspell on the Fear, and Korlik has to use his Human Racial, has to avoid Rubcup, has to, you know, avoid the polymorphs there. And here, Jamili does a kind of a clever positioning here. He just walks up on this ramp, goes between the Warlock and the Holy Paladin. And that is the positioning you want to have as a mage. You always want to be between the kill target and his healer, because that way, every time the healer comes out to heal, you're in a position where you can kind of catch him and try to get a polymorph with that shimmer. So nicely done by the Mew Mew Kitty Cats, and not too surprising result. I will give you guys, though, the sub rogue was more effective than I
It looked pretty good.
thought.
Yeah.
It looked better than I thought.
I
give you guys that.
This is the kind of composition
calm,
where it's specifically going to be pretty nice to have the sub-rogue, though, because you have the Repentance and the Fear, right? So it actually helps you set it up, but equally, we're playing against Rogue Mage. We're still kind of playing this game of what beats the Rogue Mage, and I think we've quite found an answer just yet. We've been close a couple of times. I was actually super curious to see how the boys would do against Cloud9, but obviously since Method Orange beat them, we're now going to have the boys playing against M2KC potentially tomorrow if they can win this next series. That will be one to watch, and they'll be a team trying to defeat these Rogue Mages throughout Championship Sunday. Our final series of the day is going to be the boys playing against Get Your Boy Dog again.